my dance, make it hurt.
Hello, welcome to the Project Passion Ep podcast made to inspire you to follow your passion and turn it into a successful business or career. My name is Johnny Thompson, and this week I am joined by Jodie Cartwright. Jodie is a holistic therapist coach, and she is also the owner of Come Spa With Me. Jodie, I first found through Instagram. She puts out a ton of content on there, and I seen it was all more about confidence and about actually trying to come out of your shell and about speaking. So I wanted to come on today, talk about what it is she actually does and kind of how you guys, busy, motivated individuals, can kind of get benefit from this and what you could expect if you started looking into this as benefits to your own life. So as always, guys, if you are watching the video version, hit like and subscribe. Follow the podcast if you listen to the audio version. You can also rate the podcast. But that's the same as always anyway. On with the podcast to the actual interesting bits. I just want to throw it over to you, Jodie. I always give these introductions at the start, but they never do justice to the guests that I bring on. Do you just quickly want to take the floor, explain who you are and what it is you actually do for people?
Cars, thank you so much for that introduction, and I'm absolutely loving what you're doing right now, you know, inspiring people, putting that content out there for people to really dive deep into behind the scenes, right? Because like you say, we never really truly know what someone does. We just see what they post, you know, we find it inspirational, but I absolutely love it when you dive a little bit deeper into people's stories and backgrounds. So like Johnny said, my name's Jodie Lee Cartwright, and I'm a holistic therapist of 10 years and a holistic coach of coming up 3 years. And the main thing that got me into holistic therapy was back when I was just 16 years old, I was actually on antidepressants. From a lot of things going on in my personal life and being such a vulnerable and young age, I just didn't see a way out. So I got prescribed some antidepressants. Anyway, a few weeks later, I got an out-of-body experience, which was very terrifying, to say the least. And I thought to myself, these tablets, you know, the side effects is more terrifying than actually putting myself out there, getting out of my comfort zone and getting out of this depressive state that I'm in. So from that moment, I went cold turkey, just threw the tablets away, and I thought, do you know what, there must be more of a natural way for me to be de-stressed, for me to continue with my life, and to raise my own game and my confidence. So at that point, I was in college. So I was in sixth form and I was studying sport and psychology. The reason being is because being active, getting out there, doing, you know, the gym and being outside, I was a horse rider at the time. It really put my mind, you know, at ease. Exercise obviously increases hormones in your body, which makes you a bit happier. So that was like my lifeline. I love sports, and I can see some trophies over there. Maybe you're into sports, Jonathan. We can dive a little bit.
One of them. One's a kickboxing trophy from last year. Yeah, one of them.
Okay, yeah, I saw the trophy. I was like, yeah, I need to mention that. But yeah, so the sporting industry for me got me out of a lot of things. The horse riding kept me out of trouble. And I just knew that there were more alternative ways to make me feel better on the inside and on the outside. Also, at that similar age, studying psychology, the reason why I wanted to do that is because someone really special to me and close to me was really struggling with their mental health, and was actually hospitalized for it. And studying mental health in college, it really made me understand that, you know, that the whole mind, body, and it fascinated me. And with a massive desire to help people, I've actually got a scar on my hand to prove that I love to help people. I was cleaning up for my dad. I was only 3 and I wanted to help. I was cleaning up and I just split my hand open on some glass. So the scar on my hand is literally proof that I'll do anything to help people, right? So yeah, the passion for holistic health came from that, really. I started to understand that there were alternative ways to de-stress and feel better, and I just kept exploring that myself. You know, I was really, really bad at confidence. Like, I was so shy. I was super skinny because I felt like the only way to feel good was to be skinny. Um, Massive eating disorder, like probably a lot of things that if you knew me today, you would not think that I ever went through any of that, right? Everyone's like, you're so confident, all this and all that, but that couldn't been far from the truth. Like, I've had to do a lot of work on myself to get here. And one of the main things that I had to do to get where I am is to work on my mind and my body. So that's what I studied. So holistic health really is helping someone as a whole person. So mind, body, spirit. And I knew that if I could help someone with their mind, their body, and their spirit, that's going to overflow into other areas of their life as well. And it's about getting down to the core of the problem, because a lot of people's problems, they stem from early childhood, and they don't even realize like why they're acting like they are, why they're unconfident, why something's holding them back in business, um, why they're acting the way that they are, right? And it's usually something that's developed through early childhood, when our beliefs and our values have come from, learned experiences through our parents and our upbringing, and that's all we know, right? So what a lot of people struggle with is getting to that core, and that's something that I like to help people with, is getting to the core of what's actually causing them stress. And so that's where the holistic therapy and coaching comes in. So holistic therapy is more about your massaging, your de-stressing, your different alternative treatments to medication.
And what are they? Is that like the tablets, like Holland and Barrett style, sort of alternatives to them, or is it more massages and like? 'Cause I know there's obviously aromatherapy and stuff like that there, which are obviously very different. What sort of more in layman's terms is the sort of holistic side of that some sort of anyone would know just by looking at?
So yeah, holistic therapy that I do is your different types of treatments. So your massages, your aromatherapy, your reflexology, but it's all based around, medicine. It's old medicine basically that they used to use back in like the Egyptian times. So before medication were ever invented. So it's going back to the ancient times and bringing it into the modern era. Um, I'm not against medication. Like, I think a lot of holistic therapists are like, never take medication, but if that would be a last resort for me, I would try alternative stuff first.
Yeah. So I know, as you said here, a lot of people do use this for, pre-existing, not condition, pre-existing problems and issues. But what are sort of some more general benefits? Obviously, this isn't just a fix for a problem. I assume this is more of a lifestyle change. You're meant to see it as it's meant to be a lifestyle choice. What are some sort of regular benefits that people do experience through kind of taking this on as their lifestyle choice?
So massage, for example, my clients usually come around once a month. And basically, massage has so many different benefits, from better sleep, better circulation, better, recovery from the gym, relaxation, stress relief. There are the main ones from massage, and you've obviously got different types of massage, but I would say um, the main thing that I help with is stress. So stressful people, and stress is the biggest cause of diseases. Like, if you actually peel back why a lot of people get ill, is because it comes down to some sort of stressor that's going on in their life, whether it's their job, their partner, their family, whatever it is. So it's about calming that central nervous system down so that it can really relax and they feel almost, a new person, to go back out into the wild west world.
And is that sort of thing where obviously people do just come to see you on a regular basis just to kind of keep that, I assume, sort of level for it?
Yeah. Like, I've got so many regular clients. Most of my business comes through word of mouth, and it has done for a lot of years. Um, I did take some time out to go traveling and learn about myself and do like online stuff, but I have come back to it because it is my passion and it's where my heart is. Um, I went for a stage of, chasing money and freedom, lifestyle, that type of thing. But it always comes back to, what are you passionate about? Because it kept coming back into my life. Like, I kept, I've worked in spas all over the UK and in the Channel Islands. So I've always kept in with it. But nothing beats having your own business, especially in this sort of industry. So yeah, I knew I'd always come back to it at some point.
Yeah. And how did you actually get started in the business side of this then, and actually taking this from what you were interested in and turning it into a business?
Mhm. So it was back in 2015. I was fed up of working for someone else. And in the spa world, it's unsociable hours. It's in a dark room all day. You're seeing client after client. It's really robotic. Spas are destination spas, so people go there to relax, and it might be a one-off. So you don't really get your regular clients in spas. It's just strangers, one after another, and you hear so many different stories. You get very wise to, everyone's worlds and lives, and you see a similar pattern. And a lot of the time, it's the lack of money is the main stressor for people. So I was like, oh my God, I've got all these different things in my toolbox where I can help people with their mind and their body and their spirit. But if it comes to their finances, like, I can't do anything about that. Like, I can't go to work for them. So that's then when it transitioned into the business life, because I was like, right, I need to go into the business world. I need to earn more money for what I'm doing right now, but I want more freedom as well. I want to choose the hours that I want to do. And from that, I actually got involved in network marketing, and I started promoting like other people's products. And it just got me into the world of personal development, growth, business. So I'm really grateful for the time that I had.
That's awesome though, because that's like you obviously realized that first of all, your time is a lot more valuable than you were getting paid for. You then realized that there isn't actually a relativity between the time you work and the money you make because time isn't money, the value is in the money. So you then were able to go, right, well, I can make a lot more money from this. Not even need to, you can make more money based on your value. You also seen the gap in the market for a lot more of a rounded experience by the sounds of it, not just these one time off. You like your regulars, you like people coming back and having, I assume by the sounds of it, you like having that impact in people's lives and being able to help benefit them people and create a new lifestyle for themselves, is it?
Yeah, definitely. And Johnny, it took me. Oh, I'm only just cracking my niche. I'm not gonna lie, because when you're in holistic therapy and you're also a personality where you want to help every single John, Dick, and Harry, like, it's really hard to niche that down, right? And by the looks of your face, I'm sure you can relate.
Yeah, I think honestly, because that's why I picked it up, and I think it's such a weird contrast between the people that come on the show that are entrepreneurs, the people that aren't, the people that are just working their career. Um, the entrepreneurs always say pretty much the same thing, that they realized that they could make more money doing what they were doing. They realized that time wasn't relative to how much you make. They realized that there was a gap in the market for a better experience. And I always find that's why a lot of people leave being employees and become employers because like with me, I was working hospitality management, but I was always in the middle or lower rung of management. So there was always that upper person, and I always had this idea and this initiative and that promotion, and they had no interest. And I was like, if I can do more than you want to in my spare time, like surely this isn't meant to be. And I think that's such a weird thing that everyone realizes. And then when you speak to all entrepreneurs, especially in like the digital space and stuff like that, they all say the same thing, just underappreciated, underpaid, and just wanted that time of financial freedom to be able to kind of live a life that was more fulfilling for them.
Yeah, 100%. And the just the whole hierarchy thing. There's only, a certain amount of positions at the top. And I didn't like that because there's so many people that I personally used to work with and myself that have so much more potential. And I'm sure like listeners will agree, there's so many people that you see that you work with or you've worked with in the past that have a lot more potential, but they just can't go any further. And usually, cool story actually, I got offered a promotion at this spa that I was working at to be like a head therapist. And I was working so hard for this promotion, like I even lived above the spa, right? That's how committed I was. Literally no social life, just, going down, treating my clients, going back upstairs, doing the same again. And it got so robotic, but I really wanted this promotion because we're so, conditioned in life to, go to school, go to, get a degree, and then work a career for 40 years. And yeah, so I was all for this promotion. And when I found out that it was 50p more an hour, uh, 50p more an hour, more responsibility, more headache, more hours than what I was already doing, I actually went to Tenerife. And I was like, I think it got me out, it literally shook me out of my rat race. And I went on holiday and I came back and I put my notice in because I was like, I just know. I didn't know what else I was going to do, but I knew that I just didn't want to step another foot inside that spa.
And at that point, it's sink or swim. I mean, obviously, you turned it right and you made it good, but there's always that thing where it could have went one way or the other, especially if you didn't have anything planned beforehand. How did you make that transition then? Well, I assume you would have had to have made some sort of fast transition into being self-employed to be able to sort of sustain financially for it.
Yeah, so what I realized is that I love what I do. I just cannot do it full time anymore. Because my mental health was suffering from, I love being outside. I'm an outdoor person. So to be inside in four walls and it being so dark all day, I knew it was affecting me. So I actually thought to myself, why don't I go down the clinical side instead? So I took a different avenue. Instead of staying in my own lane and what I'm good at and what I love, I actually thought maybe this isn't for me. But what I did realize is it is for me. It's just the wrong, one, I want to work for myself, and two, it just wasn't a full-time environment for me. Um, so I tried all sorts, Johnny, in the same industry. Like I went down the beauty route, then I went down the clinical side. I went down the business side, promoting products, speaking on stage, blah, blah, blah. And working on agencies, working for myself, but still in spas. So I could choose my hours, I could get more money. So I did it all, and it all led me back to the same kind of place where I was working for myself. I was with my regular clients. I was helping them. And then that transitioned into the holistic coaching because I started to coach people as I was treating them for their massage, right, in their everyday life. And I got really good at it. So yeah, that transitioned into the holistic coaching.
That was another question I was going to ask. Obviously, there is a difference between holistic being a holistic therapist and being a holistic coach. What's the sort of difference there? What's the difference between the two of them?
So the both, the word holistic is mind, body, spirit, career, that type of thing, like what makes a person whole. And the coaching aspect is more of the mental side than the physical side. So that's the main difference, I would say. Like coaching is helping someone with their mind, and then the physical side is more of the touch.
Yeah, yeah. Do you see a trend in the people that you treat? I know obviously this will vary a lot for people depending on where they live, age, blah blah blah. But for you, do you see a trend in the people that come to see you, even in terms of sort of age or maybe job role, something like that there?
Yeah, definitely. So I see the trend in the, similar age groups. Um, and I get, clients from all ages. And I feel like that's because I'm quite adaptable to people. Like, I kind of mold into them if I spend too much time. Like, I'll probably start talking like I'm from Belfast if you
Yeah.
give me an hour. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so I've got a client, he's called Fred, and he's been my client for years, and I just missed him so much. He's like my Uncle Fred. He's 72 now. And he got referred to me from another client. And when he came to me, he was really shaky, had a lot of trapped nerves, really stressed out. And now, like, he rarely has any problems. He can move his neck. He's getting married next month. And yeah, so I make those strong connections and bonds with everyone from all age groups. But I see a pattern and I see a trend in a lot of different age groups. So like our age group, for example, early 20s, it's kind of like you feel like you've got one set life, right? And you're going to do one thing, and even if it's not the right thing, you're just going to keep doing that. And then something will happen in your life, whether, you know, a lot of people my age have now got young kids, you know, they're moving house, they're getting mortgages, and they're still in that kind of, not, there's nothing wrong with it, but I feel like they're in the what you're meant to do box right now. So, you know, they're meant to get engaged, they're meant to get a mortgage, they're meant to climb their career ladder, and do that, right? And I'm noticing a familiar pattern, but because of the pandemic, a lot of my, you know, friends, clients that are similar age group to me, they've been forced out of their, you know, their rat race. That, like, I forced myself out of it when I went to Tenerife. They're now forced out of it because of the pandemic. You know, they're working from home, they're realizing they can spend more time with their family and, you know, their kids. They're realizing they can do their work from home, they can live a bit more flexible, they don't have to commute, right? They can go get a shower or go to the toilet or get a cup of tea whenever they want, right? So people are now realizing finally that, you know, online's the way forward. You know, maybe this same job that I'm unhappy in isn't for me. So I feel like right now a lot of people have mindsets have been forced to change.
Yeah, I actually really like that because, again, a lot of the listeners I know are within that sort of 18 to 26, 27 range. And I know a lot, and I say this all the time. I have so many friends that have never left home, no matter where it is in the country. They've never left home. They work a full-time job since they've left school, but they're happy. They are happy in their life, and they wouldn't have it any other way. Not a problem, completely fine. But I also know so many people that have done the same thing, but are absolutely bloody miserable, but don't see that there's a way to get out. And then coronavirus comes along, and as you say, everyone just gets knocked for six, and no one knows what's going on for 6 months. And you started seeing people that were picking it up and going, well, okay, maybe there is a different way. Like you said, work from home. We have our own time frame. We can sort of work the way we want and in our own house, in our own comfort zone. And I think so many more people have clocked onto this now and have started to go, here, wait a second, maybe this is a better way. And still props to the people that are still flat out working full-time jobs. You know, the shops don't stock themselves without you, so it's needed. But for the people that want to get out of that rat race, as you called it, I think it's been actually kind of beneficial in some way. I mean, tried by fire nonetheless, but still beneficial in the way that it's changed mindsets and it's allowed people to think a lot more freely and a lot more openly about how they can actually benefit their life and live more fulfilled in whatever it is they want to be fulfilled in.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with that 100%.
And another thing now, of course, we've talked about your business. Come spa with me. I can kind of take a guess at where you got the name from.
Yeah, so obsessed with spas, clearly. I just didn't like working in them full time. You know, a lot of people love, you know, McDonald's and restaurants and places like that, but to work behind the scenes, it's a different story, right? It's the same everywhere. So but I love spas. I love how it makes people feel. I love how you can disconnect from reality. Like the whole vibe of spas, I'm obsessed. And everywhere I go, I have to go to a spa. Like if I go on holiday, you'll find me in the spa. Like some people will be sunbathing. I'm like, I'm ginger. I'll go in the spa. I'll not get sunburn and I'll just go in the
You're
spa.
indoors with the Irish people. That's where you are.
Yeah, you'll see Irish and gingers in the spa. But yeah, on more of a serious note, I'm obsessed, and I just started kind of blogging them, and vlogging them, because I want people to understand the importance of me time and to relax and de-stress, and how that's gonna. I don't. My tagline is making me time mandatory, not a luxury, because so many people, when I was treating them in spas, they'll be like, oh, this is such a luxury, and it used to drive me potty. I used to think, no, you should do this, at least once a month. Like, I know it's costly to do it at a spa, so I wanted to bring the spa into my home environment for other people to come, and it'd be more costly for them. um and I started making my own spa products as well, because they're so costly, but how they make people feel is incredible, to just anything off the shelf, right? So I just wanted to create that whole spa vibe, but bring it to my home, so it's more costly, for people to have a spa experience, but more often than just treating it as a luxury.
Yeah. So obviously, I don't live near to you. A lot of people probably won't, but for an off chance that someone might be listening from the local area, where sort of are you based, and what do you actually offer? Because obviously you say it's within your home environment. I assume that's a set aside studio. What services do you offer now? Because I assume you don't have saunas and stuff built out in the middle of your gaff. So what are we looking at?
Well, that is an aim. My dad's a really good trainer, so yeah, that's another step up that I want to actually achieve. Um, I do want to have a full blown my own retreat one day, but for now, yeah, it's in bottom floor of my house. My clients do have their own shower, so I can do like scrubs and wrap treatments. Oh my god, I do loads of treatments. So probably every massage treatment out there, I do that. Every facial treatment, I do that. Anything that's relaxing, I do that. So yeah, I couldn't really list it all. It is on my website. But yeah, my goal, because I've done quite a lot of spa parties. Once we can, and that's the go ahead. I've got a lot of really good therapy friends that I met whilst I was traveling doing spa work. Um, and they're amazing therapists too. And we're going to travel around, and we're going to do spa parties in people's gardens and homes. So that's really exciting. And I do have plans in place to do retreats all over the UK. So who knows? We might even come to Belfast at some point.
Awesome. So now I assume there's going to be a big difference here because I've been to a physiotherapist quite a few times for multiple car crashes and sport, all host of dreadful things. But my left hip is still bust to pieces. My neck is in absolute tatters to the point literally my partner massages me every day. I have a massage gun, the heat. But what's the difference in what you do? Because obviously yours is de-stress, relaxation, and a physiotherapist does more deep tissue and stuff like that there. Does yours work the same? So in my case, for example, would it do the same things as the physiotherapist, or is it a sort of different technique with a different goal in mind?
Yeah, so I do offer deep tissue and like hot stones, that type of thing. So I work more on a muscular relaxation basis, because you know yourself, when you've got, when you go to a sports masseuse or a physio, you tend to kind of, what's the word, tense up. So when you tense, it's pretty much pointless, right? In my eyes, you have to be relaxed to get anything to move freely and to work. So I do it in more of a relaxing way. Like even in my deep tissue massages, like if I have to go deep, get my elbows and my forearms in there, I will make sure they're relaxed first. So, I do mix it up. But yeah, I'm more muscle, and chiropractors, all those types of professionals, they do a good job with the skeletal side of things.
So this is actually really bad, but this is more of a personal question I want to ask. When I used to go to physiotherapy, I used to just laugh, and I felt really. Is this normal? Because I used to feel so awkward. It'd be like, and I mean, like you say, like because it was after a car crash, this one, and after I came back from working in a dive center, it was like elbow deep in the side of my spine up, and I would laugh, and I felt so awkward. And he was like, "No, no, it's okay." I was like, "No, it's really not. It's really not." Does that happen regularly?
Yeah, well, I would say people laugh like, but to be fair, when I first started in the gym, I used to laugh when it got painful.
Yeah, I think that was more. I was in agony.
Yeah, it's just a bodily response. Like, people act differently in different situations. And it is very common to laugh when you feel awkward. So yeah, it is common, especially if you're not used to that environment and that sort of thing.
I assume it's probably a mix of the two because I was in absolute bust in my hip and my lower back, and at the same time, like it was just slightly awkward because I started laughing and that made me try and stop laughing. And anyone that's ever been to a church and laughed will know when you try to stop yourself laughing, you're gone already at that point. Everyone knows it.
There was I watched a video once. I can't remember where I saw it. It might have actually been doing my holistic coaching course. There was a YouTube video of a guy that had like a really popular talk show, and he actually used to like interview like vulnerable people for like really serious things. And one day there was this girl that she had like a really high pitched squeaky voice, and he couldn't stop laughing. And obviously he'd built such a reputation for years, interviewing vulnerable people that had like accidents or been disabled and things like that. So obviously the listeners are very serious.
But I'm dreadful at this because listeners won't realize I'm smirking without realizing because I don't like this is the type of person I laugh in the awkward situations like
But yeah, it's just sometimes it's just a trigger. Like, we can't ever fully control our reactions. It's like, when the doctor at the hospital, or doctors, they like karate chop your knee and your leg goes flying. Yeah, yeah, like, it's just a reaction sometimes. You can help how you respond to things, but not necessarily how you react in that moment if you don't know what's coming, right? So it is common, but people don't realize, like, people just instantly take offense, depending on what type of person they are.
obviously we know the majority of the people that listen to this podcast, or a good majority anyway, are pretty busy entrepreneurial people, or just live very busy lifestyles. What can they do to start getting or to make these changes to their lifestyle? I mean, it's certainly something I need to do. Obviously, good fitness, good diet is a big part of being healthy. But obviously keeping the mental health and keeping the relative, as the sort of holistic side of it, healthy. How can people in this situation benefit their lives and change their lives for the better?
So I always have a saying, like, if your cup's not full, how do you expect to overflow into other people's lives? Like, I'm a massive fan of helping people, but there's so many times in my life where I've drained myself to energize someone else, right? If you think about a battery, mine was so flat in order to keep, charging someone else up. And the only way that I recharged was through holistic therapy, going for a massage, going to a spa, looking after myself. Because when we're on an aeroplane, a good example of it is when you're on an aeroplane, they say to you, you have to put your gas mask on first before you can even put your baby's gas mask on, right? Because you are no help to anyone else if you're not helping yourself. So I block it out once a month, obviously pre-COVID. But an example of this, I can go back to business, all being well, on the 12th. I have clients booked in on the 13th, and I've got clients asking for the 12th. I said, nope, because I'm going for a spa day myself, right? Because I can be so much more of a help to you once I've decluttered everything that I need to, because I can just pass that my bad energy that I've built up during, lockdown like everyone else has. I need to go and have my own release before I can pass that on to you in a massage, right? So, um, yeah, anyone that's in business, it is stressful, or anyone that's got, a career or just family life, whatever stress you've got in your life, everyone has it, good and bad stress. We need to calm that nervous system down in order to be effective in our jobs, in our business. um so yeah, just make it more mandatory and put it in your schedule every single month.
And I actually kind of like that we've got to hit on this point, because it's something I wanted to kind of mention for a couple of weeks, but haven't really had the place to kind of slot it in. But I think a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, because it's other ones I've spoke about, and this is where it kind of came from. When you start to try and do something with your life, no matter what that is, business or just a passion, or you're trying to do something, you always get them, what's probably easiest called haters, but it's more just toxic people. And that's kind of how we were discussing it in a group one day, was some people, without realizing it, are like secret haters. And it was kind of the way someone else worded it, but without realizing, they actually don't want you to do better. And it's kind of like we were talking about like essentially removing toxic people from your life, and who should you, like when, in what situation can you remove someone, what situation should you not remove someone. Does holistic coaching and healing go into anything regarding that, or regarding sort of relationships and removing people from your life to be able to better yourself, to then come back and better their life in the future?
So definitely holistic coaching. There's something that I do with my clients called the Wheel of Life, where basically we go into all areas of your life and we score them out of 10. And if you can imagine a wheel, it has to be like a full circle, right? So if any of that is unbalanced, that's where we need to work on to make everything a bit more balanced in your whole life, not just one area. Um, so a part of it, toxic people, I've had my fair share of, having to block people, cutting people out, that type of thing. Um, but I think it all comes down to knowing yourself and really knowing that, not exactly knowing the other person, but knowing why they're doing what they're doing. So a lot of the reasons why people actually react the way that they do, like hater comments, or just even if it's just a friend that might make like a skitty joke or something like that. If it's someone I don't know and it's on social media, I just block them because I don't need the energy. But if it's someone that's maybe said something in a better way that they just don't understand, then I'll help them understand, or I'll look into their life and be like, I understand why they are like they are, and they might be worth, helping or getting back to, or you can kind of switch it around. Friends, you might have friends before you start your entrepreneurial journey, and they just don't understand your world. They only see their world through their own eyes. I have friends that I've had before my entrepreneurial journey. Some have fizzled away very naturally, but some have stayed in my life. They might have flickered in and out of it. But I've realized now that I made a lot of mistakes of pushing those people out that didn't understand my life. But when you actually think about it, do you understand their job? Just because your life is on social media, or you're putting more content out there, you don't understand their job either. Just because it's not on social media, like, you don't understand their job or their career through your eyes, right? And sometimes we forget that. We forget that we're friends regardless of the business. So I leave my business life out of it. I go see my friends, and I see my friends for it, and it's kind of a nice escape sometimes to separate the two. I used to try and mold the two, and I realized that that was doing no good for me. I still wanted these people in my life. They weren't negative, they're really good for different things. So I've got a friend that doesn't really understand my business world, And that used to get to me. I used to be like, why don't you like my posts? Why don't, you support me? And she's like, I just don't get what you do. And then I thought to myself, well, I don't get what you do either. So just because mine's on social media, I don't go into your where you work and start asking them for a boiler or, you know, this type of thing, right? So I had to change how I looked at it as well. I couldn't just, play the victim and get someone to like what I do. They just don't understand it. So that friend is, she's my party friend. She's my, we'll go and get drunk friend. We'll talk crap all day friend. And I love that. Whereas I tried to mold, I tried to fit her into my business life and that just didn't work. And we fizzled out and I hated the fact that she weren't in my life anymore. So I was like, right, I'm going to leave the business side. She's my friend because she's my friend. So you just have to differentiate the two and think, right, if this person wasn't in my life at the most crucial moments, such as getting engaged, having a baby, getting married, would you want them there? If the answer is no, fine, let it fizzle out, do what you want. But if the answer is yeah, you'd be gutted if they weren't at your wedding, they weren't a bridesmaid, best man or whatnot, then keep them in your life and just realize that you've got two separate lives out of play and work.
That's a really good way. That's a really good way of putting that. I've never heard that sort of, not knowledge, but that way of thinking before. That's actually, it's actually very thought provoking. Sorry for myself. That's very thought provoking.
Yeah, it's a huge lesson I've had to learn in the hard way as well. I've nearly lost some really good friends that I adore because I was trying to fit them into my life.
And you're going to find it anyway. I mean, if you start, like you're talking about, the entrepreneurial journey, no matter what niche or what industry you're in, you're always going to find new friends or more a network within that you're going to be friends with enough, but you can also have business with. And I think once you get to that point where you're not just at the start of the journey, but you're kind of into it and you have a network, it's easier to kind of separate the two and to create that partition to say, okay, well, these are business friends network and these are my actual life friends, the people who really give a shit about me as a person.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I've had really good. Two of my bridesmaids are getting married in September, and two of my bridesmaids are actually who I've found in business. And then we don't no longer do like the same thing anymore, but they're still like a big part of my life, and now they're like really long lasting friends. So it can work the other way as well. Um, so yeah, definitely figure out if these guys, you want them in the special occasions, and if you do, then keep them around. Yeah.
Little businessy question for you next. Again, because I know a vast majority of people that listen are marketers, entrepreneur side. Within your business, what do you do for marketing? How does that look from a holistic coach and holistic therapist side? Because I know a ton of people that are never going to actually even get a chance to work in that niche, never mind even read up on it.
So from the holistic side, it is, I mean, there's good and bad sides to it because the good side is there's a lot to talk about because it's mind, body, business, spirit. But the downfall is it's hard to niche because it's so, you know, it's the whole thing, right? So I'd my biggest tip from that would be just to talk about your own journey and your stories. Like, I truly am a believer of if you want to do something that you're passionate about, it usually comes from your own experiences and your own stories. So just start by talking about that because all my audience knows that I'll be able to coach people on confidence because they've seen my journey from where I was to where I am now. They've seen it, they've been a part of it, and they know. Like for example, I was just on a call before this one to a girl that I actually met in Spa. She's with my best friend, like mine and my partner's best friend. They're in a relationship, and I've just been helping her with the confidence to do a presentation for her uni work, and help to get through some barriers and that type of thing. So yeah, it all comes through your own journey and your own story. And if you talk about that, you can't go wrong.
Finally, just from you personally, for anyone that is listening to this, maybe someone that's been following the podcast for a while, getting the entrepreneurial itch, hasn't actually took a step, is still working a job, but they're hating it. From you, what is the best advice? Where do these guys start? How do they start living a more happy, exciting, fulfilled life?
So I would go to, what really lights you up. Like if money, time were no object, like what would you be doing? And it's such a hard question to begin with, but you will look back on your life and start to see patterns, especially as you get to like your mid-20s. I just think try anything that excites you. Just try it. You just don't know until you've gave it a go. So don't worry too much about failing, or maybe this isn't right for me, or maybe this isn't the right niche. Just put the content out there, share your stories, share your journey, do what excites you and lifts you up, and you will figure it out. And guess what, it's going to change the moment you figure it out. There's another level, something's going to come, your journey's going to change, and then you'll change as your business will change as you change. So literally just disattach your emotion around it and just go with what really excites you and gets you going.
Awesome way to end it, I think. Thank you incredibly much for coming on today, being able to share your experience, your story, and some advice for people, because I know it's going to benefit a ton of people. I mean, even the benefit I get from it's crazy, never mind the other people listening. But honestly, thank you for taking the time. I know you're obviously very busy getting ready to open up again, so I appreciate you being able to take the time and share some experience with people.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, and see you all later. Bye-bye.
Hello guys, how you doing? It's me, Jack, mate. You've just finished watching probably one of the best videos on YouTube. So why not take a moment to consider subscribing? And if you haven't already, hit the like button and turn the notification bell on. Apparently it helps. I don't know how. It was a good one though, wasn't it?